Alright, so this is going to be a pretty fast video because you already know how to use the sine, cosine, and tangent ratios. But this one is about the inverses of the trig ratios. So what we've been doing is we've been using sine, cosine, and tangent to find missing side lengths. So what I'm going to show you how to do in this video is how to use the inverses of trig ratios. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to grab one of the graphing calculators. So I'll give you a second to do that if you don't have one already. And what I want you to do is I want you to look above the sine, cosine, and tangent buttons. And above it you will see sine -1, which means the inverse of sine, cosine -1, which is the inverse of cosine, and tangent -1, which is the inverse of tangent. You get to those, of course, by hitting the second sine button, or the second cosine, second tangent. So if you do that, what comes up on your graphing calculator screen or on your other calculator, if you're using another one, is sine -1 with a parentheses. So what you have to do at this point to find your angle is actually really simple. You have to figure out what your opposite, your hypotenuse, and your adjacent are, and then put in those side lengths for the ratio. Okay, so let's look at this for sine -1. I'm going to label my sides. I know that my 5 is the hypotenuse. I know my 4 is the opposite, and then this one down here is the adjacent. So what we're going to do is we're going to do sine -1, the opposite over the adjacent. Now, we have to do, in the graphing calculator, 4 divided by 5, close the parentheses, and hit enter. So do that. And you get 53.1, and that is your degree measure for your reference angle. So we're using the angle we don't know as our reference angle to label everything. So now come over and look at cosine. For cosine, we're going to be doing the same thing, except this time you're going to use the cosine of -1, or the inverse of cosine. So you hit second cosine to bring up cosine -1, parentheses, and then you put in the adjacent over the hypotenuse. 7 divided by 8, close the parentheses, and you get 28.95, so we're just going to round that to 29 degrees. And that's your answer for Y. And then finally, we've got tangent. So for tangent, we're going to do second tangent to bring up the inverse, so tangent -1, and then we're going to do the opposite over the adjacent for our reference angle, so 10 divided by 12. When you do that, you get 39.81, so 39.8 degrees. That's it. That's all there is for the inverses. Now, the worksheet that I've left you to do today has a mixture of inverses with regular sine, cosine, and tangent, as well as word problems. So I want you to work on that sheet. Instead of doing any questions that go along with this video, you need to work on that sheet for the rest of the class period. And I will see y'all on Friday. Bye.